All right, guys. So it's Mindset Monday, and full transparency. As I was preparing for today's call, I was going through some of my notes, some of my journaling, some of the podcasts, and I normally like there's a message, there's something that resonates strongly that just pops out. That is like, okay, today this is the message of the moment, right? This is, etc. And yet today was just one of those days. Interestingly enough, that like I was like, yeah, I don't know about that, and I don't know about that, and I don't know about that. And, and a part of me sitting here thinking, okay, well, the last couple mindset conversations we've had have been kind of like right at like kind of intense, kind of right at you. Right. And I'm sitting here going, well, I wonder like, what is everyone needing right now? Like what is the mindset of the moment, and what are the challenges that we're having around mindset right now?
So it's funny you don't have a topic because I was walking this morning and I was like, oh, I could talk about this all day long. And I think this is probably applicable to many of us right now with the NAR changes, but I have been stuck probably like the entire month of August, had some just business changes and different things, and literally just got stuck in this victim mentality. And I don't know, there's something about the beach that clears your mind and helps you open up and think about things, and just had this real big like aha moment that I've got to take my power back. I have given so much of my time and energy towards anger and hurt and frustration, and it's just really held me back. And so that's what I'm working through right now. And I think that I'm seeing this, like, this isn't just a Michelle show here. I think I'm seeing this too with a lot of other agents in our market too, where they are either the way they're reacting to the NAR settlement or they're resisting the NAR settlement. There's just a lot of victim mentality right now. Like, oh, us poor realtors, everybody's after us, everybody's attacking us. And while I get change feels that way, I think I would love to have a conversation around maybe shifting our mindset and taking some of our power back, and not giving away, giving everything away and depending on someone else to fix something for us.
Have
Oh,
at
you're
it.
gonna, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, usually it's the Matt show on Mindset Monday. So
Mm. Yeah.
no, I feel like
I'm here to support today.
awesome. Awesome. Well, no, I just feel like I said, I've just been sitting here like in victim mode. There's been a lot of, you make a lot of, you take risks in your business, right? And I made a couple decisions that were risks that didn't turn out the way that I had hoped that they had. And it really caused me to really, it was so crazy because I was in a really good mind space this spring. And then I jumped into these decisions full force, and it really put me in a position where I really, instead of being influenced with people and taking my own spin on it, I kind of became like, let them lead the way, and resisted my intuition. And so when these things kind of fizzled apart, for me, I was so angry, like that someone had, I wasn't able to see the success that I wanted to see and the outcome that I had hoped for. And so I think a big part of me was so angry for not following my intuition and maybe going a different direction earlier. But then I kept jumping from person to person, trying to have someone else solve my problem for me instead of taking my power back. So as I'm sitting there yesterday, last week, whatever day, I'm so lost on time right now. I had this aha moment that, like, I have everything I need in me to bring my business forward. I just have to shift my mindset and take my power back, really take my power back and say, like, I have what I need. I have the knowledge, I have the experience, and I just need to really value myself and trust myself enough to know that I can move forward in this, and just do things differently. Okay, someone can say something else now because this is awkward.
Because that kind of your thoughts and feelings right now kind of go along with mine, because mine is simply summed up in a couple of words, I guess, and that is totally overwhelmed.
Yes.
There's so much training and so many with this fast cap training that we're going through right now, and emails and onboarding, and And it's all this, and you get to a point where you're so frustrated because of being overwhelmed. It's like, just stop, everybody, everything, just stop. And you get overwhelmed to the point of getting to the mindset of exactly what you were talking about, and feeling like the victim of, why are you bombarding me with all of this stuff when I'm brand new and I'm trying to just start and I'm trying to get my, and it goes, this overwhelming is leading to the same mindset that you just talked about. So I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah, looking for that one person to just like want to hold your hand and guide you through versus throwing all that information at you and
Yes.
go.
Yep.
Yeah, and I think that's so difficult. I think that's one of the most difficult things with changing brokerages, and especially going to a cloud-based brokerage, is there's a whole different mindset shift. It's a wonderful world out here, and there's so much information. It's just figuring out how to focus on what you want to consume, and taking it one step at a time. So I'm sure my partners here will have other thoughts on that, but I feel like taking, like, what's that saying? How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. Just figuring out what bites you're going to take, and realizing a lot of those programs are set up to give a lot of information because we don't all think the same way. And so what do you focus on? How do you set goals that are a little bit smaller in the beginning so they're attainable, and then they get your brain kind of firing like, oh, I can do this, and then you can take on more and more and more.
I agree. I mean, I've loved the transition. I don't want that to have come across. I'm glad that I made the move that I made. I love the team that I'm a part of, because I know that I have support there, where before I had absolutely none, which is why I made the move. But even this weekend, when putting in an offer, because SkySlope and all the forms are so new to me, I was so all over the place. And this poor other listing agent, I told us, I promise I'm not a blithering idiot. I'm really not. I know it seems like it, but this SkySlope and fast forms are totally new to me. So it was a struggle to get that offer in, just because I don't know all of the documents and forms to get it done. So, but we got it done, and that was a win. So, just waiting to hear back this morning.
This is such a fun conversation, right? So you're probably going, all right, I'm with Michelle. I resonate with everyone's conversation. Now what? So like, we could all just be in this party together, or like, does somebody have like a tool or a framework? Like, yeah, Dan, you got a hand?
So, see,
Yeah.
I do, Matt. This goes back to a lot of conversations we've had over the last month. And there's a theme that you've pushed me towards over and over and over again, called pushing into the uncomfortable, right? Like, you and I've talked about this a lot. The team I just joined, I would not have joined if I would not have pushed through the uncomfortable, because I did not like them to start with, did I, Matt? Not at all, because I had a lot of presumptions. I had a lot of clout going into it about what people had told me about them. I had to learn to drop all that, be open to conversations, and then really push hard into, okay, this is going to be really uncomfortable, but if it gets me to where I want to go, is that okay?
So this is fun, right? So what I'd love to share with you is a framework here, and just kind of an awareness, right? When feeling stuck, when feeling overwhelmed, right? And this comes from Alex Hormozy is the last guy I heard it from a while back, and he talks about the 3 reasons why we are stuck, right? And here's those 3 reasons. You're going to want to write these down. We'll talk about them one at a time. The first reason why we're stuck is that it's a belief issue, and belief stems from mindset, right? And programming and history and story, right? So we've got a belief issue. The second reason why we may be stuck is it's a trait. It's a trait issue, or behavior or personality, where it's a little bit like, so for instance, there's some of us that are more resistant to change biologically, psychologically than others. And there are some, right? So like, your traits or your behavior may be one of the reasons why you might be stuck, because you are either resisting growth, or you're not paying attention to your blind spots. The third is skills, skills. And so the first one is this, right? So you may have a mindset challenge where your automatic reaction may be skepticism, victim, why me? This isn't fair. Whatever, right? A mindset or belief issue. Or you may actually like just honestly, maybe it's an imposter syndrome, maybe it's a lack of confidence, maybe it's whatever it is. I'm too new, I'm too old, I'm too whatever, right? A belief issue. The second one, traits, right? Understanding your own behaviors and your traits, and then seeing, how do I naturally show up in this particular scenario? What are my blind spots in this particular scenario? Who do I have around me that can like support me or give me another perspective and challenge me against what I believe is reality, which is just your perception. It's just the lens that we see things through. Your reality is how you perceive the world through your lens. That lens is determined by behavior and beliefs, right? Personality and experiences up to this point. Sometimes you need somebody to go, well, I don't see it that way. Have you ever considered looking at it this way? Is there any possibility? I mean, Michelle, we had that conversation whenever you had a certain text come through or an email. And I said, is there any chance that possibly this email was written in this kind of tone as opposed to the way that it was read? And it kind of was. It was kind of a little bit of both, but it wasn't necessarily the immediate attack that was perceived, right? Right. And then lastly, it's skill. And the thing is like, okay, not just like it's not like training, right? It's not just, do you know how to do the forms? Sometimes the skill is like, do I have the skill to be able to work with people, help educate and influence others as well? Like, do I have the skill set for, I mean, whatever it is. I mean, if you think about why am I stuck or why is someone stuck, is oftentimes it could be a training issue, but it also could be, an influence issue. It could be even a self-management and discipline issue, which then can come back to traits, which could come back to beliefs. So like, it's interesting, like you can bounce back and forth between these three things, but those three key areas, interestingly enough, are like kind of the ground of where being stuck kind of lives. Thoughts around that framework. How does it resonate for you? How does it show up for you?
Sometimes I just have to talk to myself and remind myself that I am capable of learning, that I have the brain power to do so, and just suck it up and do it. Because when you're not learning for a long time, and then you start learning again, it's like, oh my gosh, this is so much. But yeah, I just have to tell myself, you can do it. You've done it before. Just do it.
That's such a good point. Like self-talk is so important too. And sometimes I listen to the things that I say in my head and I'm like, why do you talk to yourself like that? So I think, as you're struggling to get through paperwork, I'm saying this from experience, honestly, of having to navigate the same situation when I came over. If you're saying, I can't do this, I'm stupid, why is this so challenging? Those kind of things, I feel like that can really slow things up. It has to be like changing your mindset. Like, I'm smart enough, I can figure this out. Every challenge is overcomable. Like sometimes you almost have to like, I hate the whole like fake it till you make it, but sometimes that's really what you have to do is you have to fake it for your brain to reprogram it to have those beliefs so that you can live them out.
So do you talk to yourself out loud or is it just in your head?
It depends. If I'm trying to do something challenging, I definitely talk to myself out loud. If I'm trying to do math, definitely talk to myself out loud. If I'm being positive, it's more in my head. But I actually just watched a video this weekend about a type of yoga where you're like saying positive affirmations out loud while you're doing yoga. That's supposed to be like extremely beneficial when it comes to mindset. So maybe I need to be saying stuff out loud more too.
I think we need to be nicer to ourselves, and because I think, unfortunately, I taught this to my family. I feel like, and I should, I do take a lot of blame, and I shouldn't do that. I think Michelle's taught this to me recently. But I tend to pick on myself more than I do others sometimes. And it's harder to be kind to myself sometimes. And I think we need to be better about that. I see a lot of people do that, not just myself. But sometimes we need to, yes, we have to make ourselves accountable, but we don't have to pick on ourselves. We don't have to, what's a better word? Don't need to hammer ourselves down to the ground either. We need to pick ourselves back up by the, belt or whatever it is, just pick ourselves up and go, and be more positive to ourselves too, so that we can go and do a better job.
Matt and I have had a lot of conversation. I've actually probably talked to a couple people on this call about this too. I think what my issue really stems around is a worth issue and what we believe we're worthy of. And so many of us really, for whatever reason, can't accept the greatness and the gifts that we were given. We don't think we're worthy of receiving them. And so I think for me personally, it's about how do you open up your mind to really truly believe that you are worth it. You are worth whatever's on the other side that you really want.
I mean, my problem, I have to remember to do, and I did some TikTok videos about this, and it's funny how you can tell other people to do this, but yet you can't follow your own advice. And that was, you've got to pick yourself up, dust yourself off. And everybody says one day at a time. And I don't agree with that. It's one breath and one step at a time. Mm-hmm. And I have to, I can say that to other people. I can tell other people that all day long to try to encourage them and whatever else. But when you look in the mirror, it's like, what is your problem? What is your deal? You start talking negatively to yourself instead of looking at yourself and saying, hey, look, pick yourself up, dust yourself off, take one breath and one step. And remember that today is the first day of the rest of your life. You can't do anything about it. Yesterday's done. It's over. Quit dwelling on it. Quit dwelling on the negativity of this weekend. Like what I had personally, the negativity and the harshness that I did with myself over just figuring out contracts, just figuring out paperwork. Why am I dwelling on that today? It's done. It's over. But I have a problem with carrying it on into the next day. And then it builds onto this problem, which adds to this problem, which adds to that problem. And then I get into a point of, okay, I just got to quit. I got to stop. I'm overwhelmed. Stop. But I did it to myself. Nobody else did it to me. I chose to do that to myself.
I have the same thing. I can, and when I mentor people, your agents and that, and they kick themselves, I can get them, I can, tell them, it's not that big a deal. Here's what we, calm them down. But then when it's myself, I just dig a hole.
One of the things that was said before, which is really, I think it's really important, is that like, don't let one bad decision turn the entire day bad, right? Like your life is just a culmination of choices, right? Like, and it's, just because, so like, if you, let's say you did have a taste of that ice cream. Well, don't let if you take a taste and you go, I totally shouldn't have taken a taste. And so now you eat a whole bowl. Like that's different than just saying, okay, I shouldn't have had the taste even. Let's just keep it going. Right. And then don't break. Or like if you forgot to pack your lunch and you find yourself in the drive-thru, you're just like, shoot, I should have made a better choice. But don't get the extra large value meal. Right. Like there's choices, like even in the mistakes, right. And even the things that we falter in, like having the opportunity or at least the mindset or the ability to course correct and not let one small decision ruin an entire day. Don't let one day ruin an entire weekend. And your week isn't ruined just because you had one tough day. Right. Like it's almost like we have to have like really bad short-term memory when it comes to the challenges and the mistakes that we had. And we need to really journal and document all of the wins. Because if you really take a look at all of the great choices that you make over the mistakes that you make, we're way better off than we believe. It's just really easy to focus on the negative. That's what steals so much of your energy.
Yeah. And then you get so caught up in the negative that you let it impact everything else.
Well, and then
For
you're
me-
like, well, everything is horrible and everyone's horrible. And this is the only,
Yeah.
and the only way out is to run.
Yep.
Maybe we should have a my wins journal.
Do you know, do you think there's a reason why we start with gratitudes and wins before we do this call every single time without fail? I don't let you guys off the hook every single time. Do you guys understand what the power of gratitude is? And if you can't find something to be grateful for, man, you're jacked up. Fix it. There's always something.
I think it also takes a lot of humility and awareness to be able to say, okay, I don't have it all together. I maybe didn't listen to my intuition, or this thing that I wanted to work out didn't work out. And it's easier for us to get into a blame, like, well, it's because of this or that, or this person or this thing, instead of like, okay, how I need to evaluate choices or actions that I did, and then take a step and do something different, go down a different path. And it's okay. It's okay if things don't work out. It's
Yeah.
not okay to stay stuck, right? But that's hard, because then it's like, that's admitting that you don't have it all together and you don't have it all figured out, and that we think that that's a bad thing, but it's not, because I guarantee you none of us really have all of it figured out. It's a, moment at a time, like Brian said. And I have right now this particular moment figured out, but in like 5 minutes, I probably don't. So it's okay. None of us do.
I haven't ever met anybody that's got it figured out.
Yeah.
Like at all. Like everyone is literally doing the best they can in the moment, and there's no manual for this.
Yeah.
That's it.
Trick is not to let it spiral. Like mine went from all of a sudden the anger, then I was doing my journaling, but then I would just want to look at all kinds of different things and not actually get into my meditation. And then all of a sudden my workouts dropped. So it was just a series of pity party and excuses that changed. So it was like one decision to spiraled into like a series of bad decisions where you get out of habits that, like we talk about this all the time, right? The habits, even if you don't feel like doing them, you do them because you know that they're good for you in the long run, and that's going to get you the results you want. And somehow you get in this pity party and you're like, I don't feel like working out. Oh, it's only been like 3 weeks. I can do one more week, whatever, So that's the hardest part, is when we get into these struggles, to recognize like it's okay to feel the feelings. It's okay to be mad, angry, sad, whatever, but you can't stay there and you can't let it dictate and drive all of your behaviors.
So if you're feeling stuck, the 3 things. First one is what? Beliefs. Ask yourself the question, how are my beliefs holding me still? How are my beliefs right now not serving me to get out of this situation? The second, traits. What is my blind spot in this scenario? What am I ignoring? How is my behavior or my personality keeping me stuck? What is it that I should be willing to do to get out of this? And then lastly, the skill. What skill am I missing that would get me out of this scenario? What skill am I missing that would get me out of this? And who could I go to learn this from? Who could I model from? Who's gotten through this that I could reach out to that could give me some guidance? All right, y'all. That takes us right about time. See, you don't always have to have it. Someone usually has the message.
Great call.
Thanks for being here, guys. Stay amazing. We'll see you Wednesday. Same time, same channel.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Yeah.